Well, this is the day after recording, which means I always have a mess or I keep dragging stuff out. But really cool. I did videos on the pick and place, and that was fun. And not that I hope you find all my videos fun, but I didn't realize just how much enjoyment there would be in, seeing the actual physical feedback, of it, and mainly the energy exercises, because it has a flow meter on it. I should get where you can see it. It has a flow meter on it, so we can measure how much flow is going through the system. And then what I did, well, they're scattered throughout the mess here, but I made different degrees of air leaks, from a little pinhole to massive leaks that would still allow the machine to operate, and did some calculations on how much they cost. And I think the final one that would still allow the machine to operate, this cute little machine, was like $300 a year. So air leaks are, just a very easy way to increase our bottom line. So that was really fun doing all that. The last piece we have is this one will have an IO link option. Got to get Michael in here to do a little bit of modification. Let me just throw the parts on the floor. But so it comes in two flavors. One you can just hardwire to your PLC. You also have IO link. So it'll have two IO link hubs on it. And then actually we're going to use the same FEN20 on this one. It'll roll over and we'll connect it to a FEN20. That'll give you a couple more spots for various IO links on it. But yeah, so now I'm back over on my robot project, which is its kind of big brother. We wanted to build these two pick and places together, which is really exciting. We also figured out how to take that pick and place and put it into our robot trainer, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Got to figure out exactly how we're moving the parts and handling it a little bit. We almost have our whole electromagnetic pickup thing solved. I've learned way more than I should have ever had to about how to pick up and drop off parts. So yeah, the final part for the top of this is coming though, because yeah, this one I needed a little more than the FEN20. On our standard trainers, we have the FEN20. That way we can pick up this IO link laser distance sensor. We can also pick up the encoder. That way we can do our PID exercises. Then it has two standard discrete sensors so that we can understand that you can hook those to the IO link modules, and you can learn about different materials, capacitive procs, inductive procs. This one I needed a little more. We needed to pick up a few a few outputs. Like our electromagnet will actually be an output on this. So on this one, I am going to use the Turck again. I do like the Turck module. I think they help us a lot troubleshooting wise and getting up to speed. But yeah, that's going to be using the Turck. I probably should know the part number. TBENL4IOL, probably for IO link. That's an 8 IOL because it has 8 ports. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to get this mounted into the trainer so that people can see it, but it also doesn't constrain the operation of it, and hopefully the robot doesn't smash it. Looks like it'll just squeeze behind the hole that we use to run the cables down, which will be very convenient. And the robot, let's see, we're really close. Okay, I hit the hard stop there. So we could come around and hit that. So in the end, I'm gonna need to either make a soft limit or I'm going to add a hard stop to the robot so it can only go there. Then if we come around the other way, knock all my things out of the way, I had the same issue. Stops there. Arguably could run into this one port right here, but this looks like the spot to put this, and this will let them see it and it'll be out of the way. Of course, there's always an obstacle to run through. Is really a 90-degree connector is going to put my cable heading the wrong way because I need to end up here. So I don't know if I'll just loop around and drop in, or this may be a time for a connector that you put on the end of a cable, because those you could index. If I get that cable running right through here, That'd be really good. Of course, that's going to get away into everything else. Always fun. Always tough to figure out what order to do them in. I think I'm going to go this way with these. I'm going to try to leave these open for various accessories that someone may want to add. But from a cable layout, I'm mainly looking at these three right here. 1, 2, 3. I think it looks nice. 1, 2, and we'll have a third one. Of course, that does put it on port 4, 3, and 2, which I know some of y'all are going to cringe at because you're going to think I need to start at 1, but no, it looks nicer. First, in typical fashion, I need about a 2 meter Ethernet cable with the M12, and I have a 1 meter and a 10 meter. First, just realizing these have the auxiliary outputs on them. Doesn't really make sense to tie up my inputs with them, so they really should go over here. So here you go, we're gonna move the cables around for another 20 minutes. Of course, now I'm realizing if I put these over here, I can't get to these. Oh, wait a second. What if I just turn the whole block around? Yep, about 20 minutes later, to end up in the exact same situation, but mainly now the ones with auxiliary outputs are kind of here where we can use them easier. These right here are definitely just inputs because they're going to these lights over here. So now we got to do some mapping. You gotta love my expensive workbench. And this is where I really love this Turck module. As we go over here to documentation, first of all, we pulled out one of these FEN20s, stuck it back in, assigned the right IP address. This thing's ready to go. It uses the exact same configuration. And I know I was using port 1, 2, 3, and 4 because this is only 4 ports. So if I go over here, we can get a documentation up here, and then we go to Ethernet IP map. And yeah, now we need to go figure out what we need to do. So now I have what was port 1 outputs on port 8. So we'll scroll like crazy down to our output section. So yeah, we were on word offset 2 for our outputs. And now we're going to be on word offset 114, and that should magically make that red light work. And so now I'm going to right click that IO link module. We're going to cross-reference it. First, you know, there's just something a lot of people don't know, because if you've ever been to a class, you know I don't like you scrolling a lot. It looks like there's nothing here, but we can hit that by tag. And there's my outputs. And we're just going to go ahead and cross-reference this whole thing. And, well, it's the red tank, I know that. Okay, and there's my 2. So we'll start our wrong edit here. We're going to change that 2 to a 114. Oops. Took out my little bracket thingamajigger. Now, whoa, why don't we have happiness? Well, folks, we have a learning opportunity apparently. And of course the answer's right in front of my face. Yeah, I sat there and said the setup's the same. Mainly the assembly instances are the same. But if you're using the 8-port module, our inputs need to be 173 and our outputs need to be 131. I don't have number 114 over here. So if I go over and let's go to the properties of the IO link module, yep, I'm too small over here. And of course I'm going to have to download to fix that. So we'll go ahead and go save, because good grief, I did this earlier this week and I forgot to save it and lost all my robot parameters. Then we'll go communications, go offline, and we're going to change that 103 size to 173. And we're going to change this 67 size to 131. And we'll go ahead and press the OK key. It's going to make that happy. Very awesome. Can I go? Oh, well, I can accept that here and that'll be fine. And yeah, as soon as I download this, hopefully that'll fix my red light. So make sure it's my PLC. hit the download button. Then hopefully the moment I put this in the run mode, that left-hand light starts working. Oh, don't you hate it when it doesn't work? Well, let's go figure out why. Yeah, that's because my counting abilities are not that great apparently today. There's port 8, it has nothing connected to it. That would 100% explain why it's not working. The red one's port 5. Red, green, blue. So we need to go down and find where port 5 begins. Oops, that's the inputs. We want to go down to the outputs. They may be the same on this module, I'm not sure. But they made them down here on their own little area, so we're going to give them some attention. And port 5 begins at 66, not 114. So then we'll go over here. We'll start a rung edit. We're going to change you to 66. Oops, you need to change to also. Yes, you do. That's the input side of this. Well, while we're here, we ought to do it because there's, if you didn't know it, yeah, when I get up, I'll point it out better. These are really cool lights from Banner. They give us a display, a light color, and they also have up and down arrows. So let's see what port 5 inputs are. Port 5 inputs, ooh, it started 67. I wonder if the other one did the same way. Well, I'm gonna guess it's 67 instead. So we'll go ahead and just guess, because that gets us somewhere almost none of the time. 67, 67. And now, when I press that magic finalize button, there we go. Okay, I've got a byte swap issue. I can see it. This is supposed to be doing like a level simulating up and down. You kind of see it's kind of going crooked and meandering right now. That is not good. You really can't see that either. But yeah, look there. Yeah, that should be a nice tank level, and it kind of looks like it's kind of going a little crazy. So we're going to go over here to our documentation. Actually, no, we're going to go to the start. We're going to go down to here to their output section, and we're going to be on port 5. That is not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to the parameters here, then port 5, and I want direct processing. And the moment I hit that right button, it says error. User has to be logged in. Well, I am logged in. Oh, no, I'm not. I powered the darn machine off. So now we'll make our outputs direct. And when I hit that right button, there we go. That makes that really nice and even. Even though you can't read it quite from here, you can see that level slowly going down. So we'll need the exact same thing on ports, oh man, that's port 5, 6, and 7. Port 6, we'll make the outputs direct. Port 7, we'll make the outputs direct. Oh, I didn't hit the right button on that. I wonder if, oh yeah, I did them all. So the next question is, did I get these two inputs right? I can't reach it. That's a good thing my screen swivel. But yeah, so it has a button in the top, button in the bottom, and I press the top. There goes that one. I press the bottom. There goes that one. Now we need to go find our port 6 section. So that's going to be our green. So we got our outputs. And we find port 6. Port 6 starts at 82. We come back over here to our cross-reference, and we double-click on, see, RG RG. This one needs to go to 82. And I wildly guess that means this is going to be 83, but let's make sure that they're following that same pattern. So go up to port 6, 83. So we'll change this to 83. And we'll change this to 83. And then while we're at it, we might as well go find port 7 outputs while I'm at it. I see it's 99 here, so it's probably 98 on the outputs. It is. So RGB, blue tank. I'll start a rung at it there. We're gonna make that 98. And we'll make this 99. And we'll make this one 99. Oh, that was 91, 99. And yeah, when I hit that finalize button, all these magically should start working. Look at there. Even in the right order, it looks like the tanks are going up and down. We did have one more over here. What was the other one? Oh, this is our magnet. Oh yeah, that's gonna be important. So my magnet I put on port, I'm not even gonna guess. I put my magnet on port 1. So now we need the output for port 1, hopefully to fire our electromagnet here. So those are in their own little world right here. DXP channel 1, that's word 1, bit 1. So we'll go over here, and that means this needs changed to word, almost right, word 1, bit, is that right? Somehow I think I got something wrong on this one. Let's go ahead and finalize that. Also, I should have grabbed that magnet description before I did that, because now I'm gonna take the magnet somewhere else. But yeah, I need to fix that right now. Let's go ahead and monitor that and grab that magnet out of this one and put it there. And then we'll go back over to our robot program. Okay, so now this green should turn on the outputs. I press the up. Okay, it is. Now does it actually work? Ooh, look at that. Oh, you didn't see it. Let me do that again. Look at that. Whoa. We were getting really good at picking up parts. We're still struggling a little bit with dropping them. All right, I guess I need to clean my pig pen up and actually see if this will run now. If I got everything mapped right, I should be able to press the top red and start this. And we hope it drops apart. Yeah, we're getting there. Got this fine modification. We've been playing with all different types of thicknesses of stuff, but this is well engineered here. We got a piece of white tape stretched a little thin to get it to just the right thickness to drop apart. But I think we might have a permanent solution hopefully soon. Right now, and probably here's where I got to start building out some exercise on this. This is the anodizing tank that you saw in some of our earlier videos, what we actually go through in our in-person ignition SCADA class. But a lot of y'all had a really good comment. I had them down here, so I was trying to make it like a tank. You're like, stick those things up there out of the way. And yeah, so they still will work as the tanks. And I really wish those displays worked better with my phone. But they also could be indicators. So I need to work on making them some cool indicators for various projects. I'll say it looks like I do need a sensor, or I could do a simple part counter, because right now it has no way of knowing that it doesn't have a part there. Of course, it has a black mark, so we could use a basic color sensor. Black mark helps me figure out where to put them at. But we go ahead and press the bottom red, and that stops it.